Do you need water or anything?
Yeah.
I'll get it.
How long am I speaking for? Not to, give me time. Okay, sure. Okay, firstly, I'd like to apologize. We did leave on time, but the highway was actually blocked. We were stuck in traffic for quite a long time. So apologies for that. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa salatu wa salamu ala Sayyidina wa Nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الله يأمركم أن تؤدوا الأمانات إلى أهلها وإذا حكمتم بين الناس أن تحكموا بالعدل إن الله نعم ما يعظكم به إن الله كان سميعا بصيرا صدق الله العظيم. Dear respected brothers and sisters who are listening, firstly, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The topic is about nurturing children in Islam. And I've got about half an hour to speak to you following any Q&A that you might have. The most important thing is that we've got to get a balance with our children. When I say a balance, I mean a balance in all aspects of how we treat them. So Allah Azza wa Jal has said in Surah Ar-Rahman, وَوَضَعَ الْمِيزَانَ أَلَّا تَطْغَوْا فِي الْمِيزَانِ. There's a balance that Allah Azza wa Jal has given, and that balance has to be respected. If in any part of life you cause an imbalance in the scales, you will find one extreme or another. So even to do with our wealth, Allah Azza wa Jal has said in the Holy Quran, وَالَّذِينَ إِذَا أَنفَقُوا لَمْ يُسْرِفُوا وَلَمْ يَقْتُرُوا وَكَانَ بَيْنَ ذَلِكَ قَوَامًا. Those people, when they spend, they're not extravagant, nor are they stingy, but they're right in the middle. So you can see Allah Azza wa Jalla is calling for a balance when it comes to how we deal with our wealth. When it comes to us and Sirat al-Mustaqim, in every single day we are asking Allah Azza wa Jalla to keep us on Sirat al-Mustaqim, which is a balanced way. It's neither to the right nor to the left. Now when it comes to our children, the same thing applies. So let me give you a few examples. If you or if I treat children really harshly, then what will happen is that children will grow up, possibly if we treat them, let's say, with a harsh attitude, what we will do is we may cause some insecurities within these children. If we treat children with no discipline, then what you make children is you make them very loose, and you make them children that will do what they want, and they will not have any limits. If we treat children by giving them a lot of money, then what you do is that you make them used to a very comfortable life, and the point in their life when they don't have money, you're going to see troubles coming from them. If you treat children by not giving them any pocket money at all, then you may actually make them want to perhaps steal money if they get the chance to do it. Children are such that every time you treat the child in a certain way, you're going to get a certain reaction. But if you get the balance, then the balance is something which Allah Azza wa Jalla would have made a way for the children to grow up and to respect life, to respect yourself. In fact, if you look at the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it says, "Ahbib habibaka hawnamma." Have love for your beloved in a balanced way, in a moderate way. Asa an yakuna baghidaka yawman, lest one day your beloved becomes someone that is not your beloved anymore. It becomes someone that hates you, or you hate them. And the same thing is said, abghid baghidaka yawman, have moderately hate the one that is your enemy. Let's say, asa an yakuna habibaka yawman, because it could be a day that the one that you had hatred for, that person has become your beloved. Again, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is asking for a balance in that. If you look at Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam's life, you will find that he was balanced in every single way. So he didn't give too much love to the people around him, nor did he deprive them of the attention that they needed. This is a balance. So now what should we do with our children? With our children, as they're going through life, we've got to keep it like you keep a room. Now, a room that you have between 70 Fahrenheit and about 72 sort of Fahrenheit, I'm just giving you an idea, that's like a comfortable temperature to have the room. When it drops to 60, it's too cold. When it goes to 80, it's too hot. Okay, so if the room gets too hot, you're supposed to release the air, release the heat from that room. If it gets too cold, then you shut the windows and you allow the heat to actually stay within the room. So this is how we treat our children. That when you see they're challenging you to one extreme, you have to bring them back to the middle. So now let me give you an example, practical examples. When a child is throwing a tantrum, when a child actually wants something and they're really making your life difficult in some way, if you don't give it to them, then they're going to make you feel bad. Then what you want to do is you want to just hold your ground. When a child needs something and they're not asking you for it, but they're kind of, in a way you feel that, you know what, if I give it to them, it'll be good, but they're not asking me. But at the same time, if I don't give it to them, I might cause a lack of confidence in them. I might cause a lack of appreciation. I might make them have an inferior complexity within them. Then you want to give it to them. When a child is not asking, they're not generally asking, you want to encourage them to ask. When a child is asking too much, like, a typical thing is, why do we have to go to the masjid? Because we want to worship Allah. Why do we have to worship Allah? Because Allah Azza wa Jal, told us to. Why did Allah tell us to worship Allah? Why did Allah tell us to worship Him? Because it's in the Quran. Why is it in the Quran? Because Allah revealed it. This why. Sometimes it gets a bit too much. We need to teach them that, look, not too many whys at certain times, okay? But sometimes children don't even speak out. They're not confident enough. So again, you've got to bring them to the balance so that they are asking, but they're not asking sort of too much. When it comes to them wanting to have, let's say, food, okay? When they should have food. Again, we know that obesity is a real problem. And malnutrition is another problem, and you can see the balance there. So if you give them too much food, and if they're getting overweight, then you want to cut down their weight. If they're underweight, you want to give them some food that they bring it to the middle. Everything when it's balanced, khayrul umuri awsatuha. The best is when you have everything right in the middle. Okay, even if you look at stats and you have a bell curve, if those of you who have done studies in stats, you have a bell curve and you have one extreme on one side and you have another extreme on the other side. There's two extremes on these two sides. You don't want to be there. You want to be in the middle somewhere, and that's the best way to approach it. So let's look at a child, for example. They are 2 or 3 years old. They throw a tantrum to try and get your attention. What are you supposed to do? Well, you're supposed to just withhold, yourself, compose yourself. Don't make it seem like, you're going to give in to the tantrum. You give in to the tantrum, they will throw the same tantrum again next time. If you become very sort of strict with them, and no matter how many times they want to get your attention, you don't give them attention, then they're going to find attention somewhere else. Okay, and that's the problem with children. Let's say, for example, they wanna play games. If they want to play games, there's got to be a balance between their homework and their games. If you lose the balance again, one extreme or another extreme is going to take place. So, for example, these kids, they might have, one thing I want to say to you, one thing I really want to say is that if you have got, if you've got, your phone, let's say your smartphone, or you've got a pad, or you've got something that they actually engage in, by looking at a pad, by looking at a smartphone, It's really not a good idea to give children those gadgets at a young age. It's really not good. It creates so much stimuli in their brain that they can't actually focus properly once they come off the game. The things that they see on screen is going to be embedded in their minds. So again, you want to have a healthy balance to how much technology and stuff that you give to them. I will tell you that kids are very, very creative individuals if you allow them to have their creativity. If you allow them to solve puzzles, if you allow them to start reading books at an early age, if we read books to them, their vocabulary actually increases. If their readership goes up by the age of 9, 10, that's a very good thing. If you have them reading more books than playing these console games or playing on pads or playing on phones, it's a really good thing. You don't want to, and again, I don't believe in depriving them from all of this. If you have, let's say for example, if in your house you say there's going to be none of these games, fine, you got your house like that. Now you've got to look at the child's life. If the child has got their cousins or their relatives that have got the same, those games, but they haven't got it in their house, they're going to grow up with a kind of a greed for those things. And every time they come across those things, they're going to go to an extreme. Because they'll see the cousins playing that, they'll play that, and then they'll moan or complain that, well, how come we don't have this, how come we don't have that? Now sometimes you've got to give it to them, but the balance is that you restrict them to certain times. That's the balance. If you don't give it to them at all, you're in a problem. If you give it to them and say you can play as much as you like, you're in a serious problem. Okay? Both extremes cause a problem. And the balance is you have it there, but you restrict them to how many hours they're able to play those games. And you can find that within your own household. Okay? You'll find it within your own household. Now, when it comes to, for example, salah, you want to get salah into your children. There's a really nice, easy way of getting salah into the children. You don't want to bring it straight away and say from now on that's it, all 5 daily prayers and so on. If you make them do too early in life, you got a problem. If you leave it too late, you got a problem. So some parents, they become too ambitious. So at the age of 4 or 5, they want them to pray. You got to pray. They're on the case at 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's too much. If you keep on dragging them to prayer at an early age, they will rebel. They will hate it. If you don't say anything to your children till they get to the teens, let's say they're 12 years old, and then you're starting to say to them, start praying. Why not praying? You're old enough now. You should be praying. It's too late. They won't pray. Or they'll give you a very hard time when it comes to prayer time. What you want to do is, the balance is, you want to get it between the age of 7 to 10. And you get it gradually inside. Okay, gradually inside. So at the age of 7, you say to them, 1 salah a day you do with me. 1 salah a day. That's it, just leave them. Rest of the day, let them, if they want to come and join you, they join you. If not, just leave them. Okay? When they get to 8, 2 salahs a day. They get to the end of the 8th year of their life, 3 salahs a day. Somewhere in 9, while they're 9, 4 salahs a day. And when they get to 10, 5 salahs a day. Okay, and then 5 salahs every single day. And so on. If you get that balance right, you've got it. You've got it. And your children, inshallah, will respect it. If you make your girls wear hijab at a young age and you make it compulsory on them from, let's say, at the age of 4 or 3 or something, and they start growing up with this thing, sometimes these girls will rebel. They'll just not want to wear it. They'll wear it for when they're 4, 5, 6, 7. There comes a point when they just don't want to have it on their head. But if you gradually put it in, then they respect it. If you leave your girls till they're 11, 12, and then you say to them all of a sudden one day, from now on you've got to wear your hijab, they won't like it. They won't want to do it. So what you want to do is you want to have a healthy balance. At the age of 5 or 6 or 7, if they wear it, alhamdulillah. If they don't wear it, they don't wear it. Okay? They get to 7, 8, you want to encourage them sometimes to wear it. Okay? And you want to give them, these children that we've got in the Western world, what works with them is explanation. Okay? You don't want to give them a hukum and a command without the reason why they're doing it. Everything should be with a good reason why they're doing it. Now look, when I grew up, and when many of you grew up, we were told, read your salah. And it was like, if you don't read your salah, you're going to burn in hellfire. That was the only thing we were told. You read your salah, you're going to get smacked from me, and if you don't read your salah, you're going to end up in hellfire. Two negative things. You're going to get beaten up, or you're going to get told off, and if you don't read, then you're going to end up in hellfire. So it's negative. Now, subhanAllah al-azim, the Quran has spoken about Jahannam being a consequence for not praying. But why should that be the only thing we tell children? Why shouldn't it be, read your salah, because Allah said, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu sta'inu bis-sabri wa salah, that you will get your help from Allah through salah. Read your salah because salah is a key to Jannah. You want to go to Jannah? We all want to go to Jannah, so read your salah. Read your salah because it's the best way to show Allah shukr and to show Him gratitude for the things He's given us. And we should always show Him gratitude. Now, these are positive reasons to give them to pray. When children have it gradually in their life and they have reasoning given to them, and you've got to be up and honest about the kind of challenges they're going to come to you with. And I'm telling you, these kids, they can get very smart. Like when I was young and some of you were young, we couldn't even question. We didn't even have a question. And some ways it was a good thing, okay, because you just got on with what you did. Right? But there's going to be a healthy balance there as well. Like there should be some form of us being able to ask questions. But like I said, there are certain limits to questioning. But if these children come up with a serious question about Islam, about Allah, about Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, about the Quran, if they come up with it, they're American children. They will come up with these questions. You've got to have a way to deal with the question. The wrong attitude is to say, better or something, why are you asking such a question for? We don't, and not give them anything at all. Anything at all. No, give them something. If you're not equipped to give them an answer, bring them to the masjid and bring them to the imam. If one imam has not given a satisfactory answer, take him to another imam and take him to another one. And if you're still not satisfied, post the question online somewhere, on some imam's forum somewhere, and get some answers down. Find and give them an answer. And I'm telling you, as an imam, I've had my child, even my children, they've asked me certain questions and you think, how do I answer that one? So one day my child, and it usually happens because the kind of reasoning and questioning they've got at school, they give them the most liberal type of views, and they take their mind to the extreme of liberalism. So one day my child comes home and says, how do you know the Quran is true? How do we know that? How do you know that what the Quran has said is true? So I thought, okay, it's a big challenge, right? How do you say the Quran is true? So what I did is I told him a story. And the story I told him was the fact that, they tried to copy the Quran in the Prophet ﷺ's time. And when they copied the Quran, some people came to the Prophet ﷺ because the challenge was there, try and bring a surah or something that is similar to this. So they came to the Prophet ﷺ and they said, we've got something, that can challenge the Quran. So the Prophet ﷺ with the Sahaba said, okay, go and read. What is it that you've got? So they said, Al-fil, wa mal-fil, wa ma adraka mal-fil, lahu khurtumun tawil. Right? They said the elephant. What about the elephant? What do you know? What will tell you about the elephant? It has a large trunk, long trunk, and it has a body that is big. Now this is laughable, right? Because what sense does it make to describe an elephant? All right? We all know what an elephant is. Got a long trunk, got a body that is big, and so on. And they try to put it to the same frame as Al-Qari'ah, Mal-Qari'ah, wa ma adraka mal-Qari'ah. But if you actually think of Al-Qari'ah, the catastrophe, the striking. Mal-Qari'ah, what is that thing that's going to strike and knock? وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا الْقَارِعَةُ, what's going to tell you about the thing that knocks and strikes and it's a catastrophe? يَوْمَ يَكُونُ النَّاسُ كَالْفَرَاشِ الْمَبْثُوثِ, the day when you see people like scattered moths. Now that's striking. If you think, wow, people are going to be like scattered moths? وَتَكُونُ الْجِبَالُ كَالْعِهْنِ الْمَنْفُوشِ, and mountains will be like carded wool. It's like, what? Mountains are going to turn like soft wool? So, and because of the strike and the catastrophe, that's great. That's like, you could just sit there just thinking, what is the consequence of, what is going to be the consequence of the people on that day? And what made this happen? Now, that's nothing compared to, you can't do that to al-fil wa mal-fil wa ma adrak mal-fil. So my child just ended up laughing, about that. And then another time, they bring you, for example, they say, well, the Quran, how do we know the Quran is true? Because they'll bring the same question again some other time, and then you're going to give maybe another different answer. So the thing is, the fact that we can recite the Quran in so many different ways and never feel that the Quran is now getting old and archaic is a living miracle of the Quran. There's no other book in the world that you've got so many different tunes that you can use, and yet it is so beautiful to listen to. A Qari might say, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahmanir Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin, Iyyaka na'budu wa Iyyaka nasta'een. Another Qari will come. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahmanir Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin. Another Qari is going to come and say, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahmanir Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin. Each Qari comes with his own tune, own recitation, and yet you will find just as Allah Azza wa Jal is eternal and is limitless, the recitation and the different tunes of the Quran that you will start to gather are going to be limitless. Okay, and that's the miracle of the Quran, of how much we've got. So anyway, my point is that these kids are going to come with questions, and we've got to be able to either answer them or find someone that's going to answer them. Now, as children grow, my friends, please don't make it your thing that, I'm just going to make them do something that is just going to give me satisfaction. Please remember that the children need to also partly enjoy what they're doing. Now, sometimes children don't know what they need in life. I understand that. So I'm going to say, particularly with this, I'm talking about the hifz. Okay? Some of us parents are very eager to make the children memorize the Quran, which is really good. Don't get me wrong. It is really good to make your child hafiz the Quran. But tell me this. Is it, you've got to look at the hufaz of Texas. You've got to look at the hufaz of America. You've got to look at the people who've actually become hafiz. You've got to seriously look at what reason one hafiz enjoys being a hafiz and another hafiz probably ended up forgetting the Quran. And don't try and hide the fact that certain hufaz have forgotten parts of the Quran, or they've forgotten possibly the entire Quran. And let's not hide from the fact that in America you've got certain hufaz that are probably even left the deen. Okay, there's a small population of hufaz that are probably left the deen. So if you then go back, and I'm not saying that this is about all the hufaz. No, there are certain hufaz, mashallah, they're leading tarawih, they're teaching, other children and so on. But what you've got to then look at is, you've got to look at the reason and how they led to this. Okay, if you have a class where there's huge pressure on the children, they're spending 3 to 4 hours a day, when their own siblings and cousins and friends are enjoying that time outside, at home or outside. When that happens, when they have really tiresome days and they're young children, when they feel, it might not be the case, but when they feel they're being deprived from all these playing, of games and so on, and when they've got huge pressure just to finish memorizing this Quran. Okay, that was one thing they went through, maybe for a few years. Next thing is, you're not equipping these children with some meanings of the Quran, the way to understand what they've memorized later on, to engage in what the Quran actually wants them to do in life, how beautiful the Quran is. They don't know anything about this. All they know is parrot fashion, just say the words of the Quran. So they're able to say, La yuhibbullahu al-jahra bis-su'i min al-qawli illa man zulim. And they don't know what they've actually said. And you're producing many of these hufaz, and they were deprived, or they felt deprived of a lot of, games and other things that they could have done, and there wasn't a balance there. What will happen, or what might happen, is that these children might rebel. I will tell you one thing, it is far better to give children Islamic knowledge and to work on their akhlaq, to work on their character, to make them love the Quran, to make them recite the Quran, to make them do tahfidh or memorize parts of the Quran, yet love the Quran and grow up as a Muslim that wants to engage and have further studies in the Quran, then to bombard them with an entire program, and then in the end, they may not, come out with the results that you want. Now, I'm not saying to you, stop hifz. No, I'm not saying that. Don't get the wrong message here. I'm saying to you, just look and study those who finished hifz in certain masjids or certain areas, and you got to then just go back to the tracks and go and see who enjoyed it and why did they enjoy it, and go and adopt that. Who's still a hafiz that wants to be a hafiz and that wants to lead tarawih, that wants to teach hifz, mashallah, go and talk to them, find out what made them enjoy the Quran so much, and then follow their footsteps. But who didn't and why they didn't, or who broke off from the tradition and why they broke off from the tradition, you need to also find the reasons and not to follow the reasons of that. Okay? What we need is, we need these children to have a very good Islamic education while they are young. While they're young, my friends, you've got them. I'll tell you the age when you've got them, all right? And I'll tell you what you could do as they're growing. A quick shots I'm going to give you, all right? When they are right in you call them the diapers, right? When they're in that and they're just still toddlers and they're sort of, walking around and so on, don't allow your children to try and get numbers and scores over you, all right? Treat them nicely, hug them, kiss them, love them, but in a balanced way. And between 2 or 3 children, always do justice and always love all of them the same way. Never differentiate between a daughter you love more and a son you love less, or a son you love more and a daughter you love less, or 2 sons you have, one is more intelligent and bright and you show more love to them, and another one is less intelligent, therefore you're not happy with them. Don't do that, because you are going to be the first cause of a rift and an imbalance in your own life, and these children will not like you when they grow up. Justice, fairness is at the heart of the tarbiyah of children. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam once saw an individual, he had one child come and he put him to his lap, and another one he put him to his side, and Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Ma adalta baynahuma." He said, you haven't done justice between the two. If you're going to put one on your lap, put the other one on your lap too. Right? If you're going to put one on the side, then you put the other one on the side as well. If you give one a really good, nice hug and kiss, and the other one right? That kid knows that your love is not complete for him. Okay? They read these things. They may never say it to you. If you scold one and you say, when one, let's say for example, dropped the pencil or something, or dropped the cup or mug or something, and you say, "You keep on dropping stuff. What's wrong with you? How many times have I told you?" And the other one, might drop something, and you say, oh, pick that up. You just dropped that. So they hear this. They hear your language. They hear how you're treating one and the other one. And if you've lost your justice in the process, or you have different ways of treating them, I will tell you that you're the biggest failure first. As a parent, you're the biggest failure. Now, as they're growing up, you're going to make them independent. As they're growing up, you want them to do their own things. So why can't a 5-year-old, go and get their own breakfast? Why can't they? Why can't they get a bowl and get the milk? Even though they might spill the milk here and there a little bit, they'll get used to it. The hand coordination will get used to it, and they can make their own. They can basically pour the cereal in the bowl and get the spoon if they can just about reach it. If they can't reach it, you place it in a place where they can reach it. In the morning, they should do their own breakfast. Okay? Why can't a child get used to keeping their room clean? Why should you spend 10 years telling them off again and again? Even when they're old, you keep on telling them off about their room. And what happens is, you as a parent, in the end, go in their room and clean it anyway. What is the point of that? You as a mother, you as a father, why are you going in the room and cleaning the room? You complained about it and then you do it. They're like, your dad, tell me off right now. In 5 minutes you're going to come in and clean it anyway. I don't see the point of telling me off. Right? If you get them used to something, they know what the limits are. The way your child or a guest would walk in your house and you expect them to take their shoes off, and it's standard, you take your shoes off. You don't take your shoes all the way into my living room, onto my carpet, on the staircase, into your bedroom. You don't do that. Most Muslim families, you walk in the house and the shoes have to go on the side. The way it is a must to do that, it's a must for you to put your toothbrush in the right place, to put your clothes in the right place, to do your bed up, right? Get them to do it from a young age. They will love doing it. In fact, if you think, right, that they're not going to pick up these items, I'm telling you right now, it's your fault as a parent. If you put the system in from an early age, this is how we keep it clean, and get them to do it. Don't you do it. Get them to do it and get them in the process of doing it. By the age of, let's say, 7, 8, right? They can be folding clothes up. They can be finding the socks, right? These are things that happen in your house, right? You washed a bunch of socks, right? And then you're going to sit there and you're going to match them all up. Yes or no? Yes, guys, yes or no? Right? Get the kids to do it. Get them to match things up. Get them to fold clothes. What's wrong with folding clothes? They can do that. By the age of 9, 10, they can iron their clothes. Why can't they do that? By the age of 10, they can actually fry an egg. Why can't they fry an egg for themselves? And seriously, you teach them, you make them do it, you teach them how to turn things on, be careful and so on. 10, 11, definitely they can do that. Why can't they iron their own clothes? Why can't they sweep the floor? Why can't they vacuum the floor? Mop the floor at the age of 10, 11, 12, 13? Of course they can. They can do this easy. You put a system in your house and you just got to do it. That's how it is. That's how humans grow. That's how we all are. You put that in, they'll do it. Now, if you don't put these procedures in place, what happens is your kid is 13, 14, doesn't iron the clothes, right? Doesn't do the breakfast. Mom's bringing the breakfast. Mom or sister's ironing the clothes. He gets his sister to iron his clothes. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not asking you to do that, by the way, yeah. I'm not asking you to do that. But he gets his sister to do that. He gets his mother to make him breakfast. His room or her room is a mess. And you have to walk in there and you have to tell him off. You have to tell him off. Why? Why didn't you in your house make it instant that when you call them, they come to you? In my house it's like that. If I call the child has to drop everything and come straight to me. Out of mahabbah, out of love. I will not call my child unless I need my child. And when I call my child, it's first time. You know what happens normally in the houses? You say, Ahmad. He says, I'm coming. He just snoozed you. He put you on snooze. Say, Ahmad, I'm coming. Right? Snooze you again after 2 minutes. So you're waiting. You say, and then you have to change your tone. So you say, Ahmad, I'm coming. Right? So when he hears your voice changing or getting serious, then he knows to come. But the first 2 times, he can snooze, right? So what then he does is, every time you call him, always snooze. The first time, snooze, automatic snooze. Don't go to Papa, don't go to him. You just don't do it. Now, if your household is like, when I call you first time, you come. Khalas. If your child doesn't come, you got to apply the disciplinary measure in your house. There's got to be rules and you apply them. Any parents who say that there's a rule here, if you don't do this, I'm going to do this, and then you don't apply your rule, they know that dad's not going to do it, mom's not going to do it. Right? So they'll carry on playing you up. So if you said that if you don't come to me, then, for example, you're going to have to answer what you've done, or you're going to have to stand there, or you're going to have to be deprived of something, you apply it. And I tell you one thing, kids, your kids in America, they're a lot more kind of spoiled than our kids in the UK. Our kids in the UK are spoiled as well, don't get me wrong, but your kids in the US are, a few notches up, if you like, right? I've seen the kids here, and they're like, I'm American. It's like I live in the what is it? Land of the free and home of the brave. Yeah, that's it. He's like telling you, I'm brave, I'm free. What are you telling me, Papa? Now, if you don't make your house that, look, land of the free, home of the brave is outside my door, my little child. Okay? That's outside there. Here, land of Papa, all right? Home of Papa or Mama, and I tell you whose rules you go under, right? You got to set your own rules. You got to put it straight up that no, this is how it's going to be. Now, for example, back talk. They give you back talk. No way. No child should ever give you back talk. No way. Just cut it off from the age of 8, age of 7. They start any of that. Cut it out. You should not hear a single word of back talk. When my children, in the UK, my children started it at the age of 10. Bang on age of 10, they started it one by one. And the thing is, if you cut it from the roots, it doesn't come back again. And what do you do? You can't hit children like back home or something, they just hit you and you're padash, I'll never do that again, right? Here you can't hit them. So what do? Well, there's measures. You can just say to them, okay, fine, can you have time out? Go over there by that wall. Time out. Let's look at the wall, reflect on what you've done. Time out. And I'm serious about this. You don't just put them there and bring them straight back. No, let them stay there for 5 minutes and look at the wall. Let them reflect. It's called reflection time. Well, Papa, what am I looking at the wall for? Because the wall will make you see that you've got to think about your own head. Forget about anything else. Let them stay there. 5 minutes later, come back. Let them come back. If they're still raged and you see some kids, especially boys, right? When they get to the age of 10, they're like, say, okay, you need to calm down. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Go back. Go back. Let them stay there for another 5 minutes. There's nothing wrong with that. Your schools will allow that. What's wrong with that? 5 minutes, time out. Go and calm down, son. I can't talk to you where the shaitan is like running inside you. I can't do that, okay? You stay there, and after a while you come back again, and then when you calm down, then I'll talk to you nicely. We both talk nicely. There's no need to shout. And I'll tell you one thing, when you shout in the house, you're like, hey, whatever. It becomes a natural voice, right? It's like the fridge, you have fridges in your house, and all of a sudden the fridge comes up, right? And what happens is, you're in the house and you go, oh, the fridge sound is, don't worry, it's going to be off in 3 minutes, right? So all of a sudden, oh yeah, that's fine. So what happens is you start shouting, your kid's thinking, all right, that's going to go on 3 minutes later. Right? What you do is, you do the total opposite. I'm telling you, you try this. Look, instead of talking, you do this, you do this. Ahmed, can you come over here, please? If you lower your voice, it's deadly. Do you understand that? You don't have to shout. See this? You don't have to shout. Come over here. And just like this. Did you actually do that? He's like, you see, it's serious. Quickly, see, serious. Yes, I did. Are you supposed to do that? No. Try not to do that again. Is that okay? Yes. Look, that, and come back to, did you do that? Why did you do that? How many times do I have to do that? Habibi, right? And he sees the same drama over and over again. Why the drama? Why shout? Why make him, why make him feel like that? Just deliver your message. And one thing kids love is this. If your love is the main thing, and then when they do something wrong, you just take your love away a little bit, and then you bring your love back again. That is the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ of doing tarbiyah. So it's a wonderful way. Rasulullah ﷺ never hit, he never scolded them, he never shouted at them. What did he do? He did this, look. He was so lovely, he was so jolly, he was so normal. Now, not too jolly, not too much lovey-dovey, no, just in the middle. So he's always cheerful, always happy, and everyone loves to be around him. Suddenly, someone does something that upsets the Prophet ﷺ, and the Prophet ﷺ just goes quiet. He's silent. His face is, drop. And people around think, Inna lillahi, we've got to get him back to the cheerful person. We've got to get him back. And then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what he would do is, once the disciplinary time is over, like if he was upset, after that he would be back to his normal self, back to loving, back to caring. Now if you do that in your house, where your children believe, Dad loves me, Mom loves me, but the disciplinary part is something that I need and I understand that, that's fine, that will be good. But if they see that Dad or Mom hate me, if he gets to that point, then you've lost them. Everything needs a balance. If you can get the balance right, alhamdulillah, they'll be fine. If you have children that are giving you a hard time because they're not listening to you for something, take away, look, another form of discipline, a very simple one, okay? It works in my house. My kid right now is 13 years old, okay? He's full, boys, I'll tell you this, boys age of 12 to 14, something happens to them. Girls 11 to 13, something happens to them. I don't know if that's the same case in America, but in Britain it's like that. Okay, you watch in a school, they come in, okay, let's say for example you have like age 11 or something, okay? Age 11 or age 10, mashallah, you look at their face, there's no hair or anything, you look at them, oh, mashallah, mashallah. If you look at them at 15 and they've kind of had the beards they're coming out a bit and the discipline, you say, alhamdulillah, mashallah, good boy. Yeah? In between there, they go through an alien phase. Something happens to them, because the hormones are kicking in, they're becoming big, they're thinking that they're adult right now, and a lot of rebellion is happening in them. Now, look, during that age, there's a simple way of disciplining them. The thing they love the most, you start cutting time off that. My kid, he only has, like in the weekend, he only has a few hours of his PlayStation 4. Okay? All week, we don't allow it. Monday to Friday, we don't allow it. Right? Saturday, Sunday, fine, but Monday to Friday, you're not going to do it. Right? So when it comes to Saturday, Sunday, even then it's limited. So in the week, if he disobeys or he doesn't listen, khalas, no need to shout, no need to hit, no need to do anything. We say, okay, fine, 15 minutes off. 15 minutes off your time of 3 hours or 2.5, 15 minutes off. 15 minutes, it hurts more than a slap. He would rather get slapped than have 15 minutes. Wallah. He would rather you do something, anything else than the 15 minutes because it hurts. He's only got really limited time. You know what? MashaAllah, alhamdulillah, no problem. Just the 15 minutes, just take it off. Alhamdulillah, you didn't shout, you didn't hit, you didn't do anything else. Alhamdulillah, all good. When they do something, they play and they get too addicted, you got to look at children with this. Look, again with playing, if they get too addicted to something, you got a serious problem. And if they don't, engage in any activity like that, and they don't play with any friends, they don't play anything, you got another problem again. Because they're becoming, hermits, they're becoming people to themselves. So the balance is required. Addiction is a serious problem. Addiction is a serious problem. And if your kids get addicted to anything, there's going to be consequences that you're going to have to face. Now, if you can keep the balance right with the children from all these different ages till they get to to a certain age, alhamdulillah, job is done. Job is done. Anyway, I'm going to leave it to that, inshallah. Whatever questions you've got, you can ask your questions, and then because I don't want to make it too long here. Whatever questions you've got, you can put your hands up, and inshallah I'll answer questions. Put your hands up, and feel free. Yes. Wa salam.
Schooling, what is the better choice between Islamic school or a regular school? And if they're going to a public school, then what would be the tarbiyah?
Okay, for the schooling, Islamic school or public school, and how do you do the third?
If they go to public school,
If you go to public school,
in an environment where it's not conducive to them. So how do you know?
okay, look, how these things work is every school is going to be different depending on the area, depending on the affluency, right? You'll see this correlation where you have low-income parents, okay, parents with low incomes. You normally have them going into houses that are smaller, and where you have that, you normally might have a ghetto or something that might form in that area. Okay, and the schools in those places, you're going to find the schools those kids that get there, the teachers that are on the low end will come and teach at those schools. It's a whole system that takes place. Where you have more affluency, the parents are more affluent, they've got higher salaries and so on, they're going to be in like larger houses, and those houses are going to be in areas where you won't have ghettos, right? Where you won't have the troubles and so on. And those schools in those areas will have better sort of teachers and better education. Now, again, what you have to do with all schools, Islamic schools, weekend schools, public schools, what you need to do, most parents don't know the trick. There's a trick to know about this. There's an easy trick, right? You know when you want to go on holiday somewhere, and you know what's the first thing you do? You ask your friends, has anyone been on holiday to that particular place? Let's say, for example, you want to go on holiday to, let's pick a country, Spain, right? So you know somebody who went to Spain from the US, you say to them, have you been to Spain? Oh, yeah, you've been to Spain? Tell me your experience of Spain, yes or no? Yes? And then tell your experience of, oh, you get this, you get that, you don't get this, you don't get that, be careful of that, and so on. So you make a decision from what you heard. You don't just jump into it. It's good to find out who's been there. With all schools, the best way to do it is go at the end of the school, to that school, and wait for the parents to, congregate there. And as they're waiting for the children to come out, go and ask those parents, what's your experience been of this school? Most parents don't know how to. This is a very easy way of collecting information, and the best information you're going to get. So you talk to a number of parents about the children, about the experience, about the teachers, about the behavior of the children, and you get an idea, and then you decide whether you want to send your children to that school, to that school or not. And when it comes to the balance of a public school or an Islamic school and so on, again, I'm going to say to you, every single one has to be sussed out by you. Some Islamic schools are really good, some are not that good. Some public schools are really good, some are not that good. Right? And there's a balance that you have to look at, because if you don't look at the product of what's at the end of it, you won't know where to send them. Even if you go to a madrasa, let's say a weekend school, a Sunday school, whatever it is, by talking to the individuals there, you will get your information, and that's what you need. Right? If you're confused, go to your local imam. Go and ask your imam. Go and ask people who have knowledge, which school, which masjid, which place should I send them. I'm not the person to ask that kind of question, because my first day in Dallas, right? Okay, so I wouldn't know. I've given you the principle of how to work out things, okay? But in terms of logistics, I've got no idea, okay?
The question was also like the ideologies that are being taught in school, irrespective of if it's a ghetto school or a public school. The ideology the kids are bombarded is like materialism and atheism.
Yeah.
So,
okay, fine. I would say to you, like, look, you need a very good system of Islam that they go through for them to be able to, even in a secular school, for them to have the grounding of Islam. Something we have done is, if you go to safarpublications.org, okay? Thank you. If you leave it here, thank you. If you go to Safar Publications, this is an organization I've got. We've done several books, okay? We've made a system, an entire system. A lot of parents are using the books to teach at home and so on, right? Those of them that go to public schools. We've got Sunday schools taking them, weekend schools. We've got all sorts. Even normal Islamic schools are taking them. Even parents are learning the Islam from there. What I would say to you, if you can ground the Islam through a good system in your house, then even though in public schools they might have certain questions and materialism and things you're saying, they should not be affected by that. They just need to have the proper Islamic education. If you get them young and you ground things in them, you're fine. If you leave it till after 10 years of age, the tougher it's going to get for you to try and get them. Okay? Somebody over here had a question? Yes?
Can you please talk more about the maktab system that you have? You have weekend schools here, but it's only about 10 to 15% kids actually participating in these schools.
Which one?
In Dallas-Fort Worth area,
right.
We don't have organized maktab.
Okay, maktab, yeah, okay.
We just have weekend schools. And that too, the participation is only about 10 to 15% of the community. So how can, if you can talk more about that?
Okay, look, I would say to you again, look, it's up to the system here. I don't exactly know what restriction they've got here. Look, sometimes the imams might be ready to do a program, but the parents are not ready to send them. Right? You get that. Parents sometimes, you get sometimes parents saying to you, if I send them Saturday and Sunday in the morning, then my child is going to be 7 days up early. And I think to myself, your child's up 7 days early anyway. It's not them that are complaining, it's you. It's true. If the parents want to get us sleep in the morning, it's not the children. The children are always up early in the morning, 6, 7 o'clock, they're bouncing up and down. You can't even go to sleep in your own house. That's the truth, right? So it's not the children. If you put a system now, there needs to be full support in this. In terms of maktab that you want to do, I'll tell you what we've got in the UK. We've got like weekend ones that run on Saturday mornings and Sunday mornings, 3.5 hours on Saturday morning, 3.5 hours on Sunday morning. So the whole afternoon and evening is free. And we've found that if you've got a good system and if you teach them well without repeating things, and you've got an entire syllabus, alhamdulillah, you can really ground things inside them. And over long term, the tarbiyah is done through that. Right? And parents obviously have to do their part at home. So I would encourage to have a kind of a maktab system. Just having a few hours only doesn't ground their beliefs. If you have just 3 to 4 hours only on just a Sunday, you'll get to a certain extent, but it really won't ground things in them. I think at least you should have a Saturday morning and a Sunday morning, even if it's 3 hours or 3.5 hours and 3.5 hours or something, and you have this lessons with good grounding. Then inshallah, bi'idhnillah, if they stay in the system for long enough, it'll be good. Another problem you have with masjids, and this is a fault of the parents. Parents want the children just to read the Quran. And parents are not interested in so much of Islamic studies, even if the children get it, the parents sometimes are like, look, I just want him to finish the Quran. And what happens is when the child finishes the Quran at the age of 12, the child sees their free ticket never to come back to the maktab or never to come back to the school again, right? And that causes a lot of damage. What we did in the UK with our particular one is we separated tajweed and qira'ah from tilawah. So when they get to the age of 10, 11, we tell them that you're going to read yourself, the whole Quran yourself, and you're going to carry on reading to teacher from here. And the child finishes the Quran every single year, once, twice, 3 times, whatever. So there's no target that once you finish the Quran, you leave the school. Okay, but we need to try and keep these children with us at a higher age, and carry on doing the tarbiyah. Okay, what age should you keep disciplining your children? Keep disciplining them. Okay, the thing is, look, you got to find that balance as well. You can't carry on discipline. You can't talk to your just because it's your child. You can't talk to them like a 5-year-old when they're 15. You can't do that. It doesn't work. You can't talk to you can't do the other way around as well. You can't talk to a 5-year-old as if he's 10. You can't. The understanding and the levels are different. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Anzilun nasa manazilahum." Bring people down to their levels. Bring people down to their levels, which means that talk to them how they should be talked to, not how you think. So a 40-year-old adult should not talk to a 10-year-old child with a 40-year-old mind. It should be a way that the 10-year-old mind can understand and grasp it. Okay, that's what the Prophet ﷺ meant. Kallimun nas qadra uqulihim. Talk to people according to their understanding. Okay, so if you keep it like that, as the child grows up, they get to 15, 16, you're going to make them more and more independent. Now, the kind of discipline you're going to do is still going to be there, but it's got to be in a way that is appropriate to a 15, 16-year-old. You've got to talk to them in a way that you respect them. If you show children respect, they will show you respect. If you carry on saying, hey, you, whoa, hey, all that, then they're going to say, yeah, dad. Okay, dad. They're not going to give you the respect that you need. So it's a two-way process. It gets you to a two-way process later on. And it does, discipline starts at a very young age. A question here again. In USA, phones are allowed in school no matter how much you prevent. They have access to the whole internet. So what can you do to limit the internet? The first thing is, can I ask, does everyone give their children a phone or no? No? Okay, I'm going to tell you straight up. If your child says, I want a phone, then give them an old Nokia. Straight. You want to call me? Here's a Nokia. You can only just about text something, and you can make a phone. By the time you finish 5 minutes, your ears are going to be burning. All right? Let them learn what life is. Why give them a smartphone? Why? I don't understand. Why do they need Wi-Fi? Why do they need Wi-Fi? Some of these kids, seriously, once they get Wi-Fi, they want to stay with Wi-Fi for life. And they don't want wife. Wi-Fi becomes more important than wife. Seriously. It's a real problem. Now, seriously, young age, why do they need a smartphone? Why do they need Wi-Fi? There is absolutely no reason they need it. And like the sister has said here, why should you give them internet? Why should you give them internet? Internet should be only at that age for homework. Internet should be when they need it. It's a necessity. So if they've got homework, yes, get onto the laptop. But the laptop should be placed in a place where you as an adult have got full vision of the laptop when they have it. They should not have their own smartphone, tablet. And you know what they do? They put the tablet under their pillow. So when they go to sleep and you switch the light off and they're trying to go to sleep, Moses' tablet woke them up with the 10 Commandments. Thou shalt not sleep. Thou shalt type. Thou shalt be on Instagram. Thou shalt make a 10-second Snapchat video. Those are the commandments coming from the tablet, so they're on that. The tablet, the phone shouldn't even be with them in the first place. And if you ever give your child a smartphone, and they're young, I don't see the reason why you should. But if you ever give it, then you should share the passcode. You should have access to the phone. If your child says, no, I'm not going to give you access to the phone, you want to know why. You know what I'm saying? You want to know why. Why is my child 11 years old and telling me to get off there? Huh? Why? Is it because of Rebecca? You understand? There's going to be something there. If you get into it, you're going to find stuff. So the whole point is that if you give it to them, seriously, you've got to have access, because they don't know how to protect their iman. And if you give them access to the internet, look, this whole thing of parental kind of thing, there's loopholes. They work out loopholes. If they go to Google and they go to certain ways into Google and so on, they can find a loophole and get into certain videos and certain images that they're not supposed to see, they're not supposed to hear and engage with. Now, again, they're too young. They don't know what life is. I'll tell you one thing, cyberbullying is a massive thing. Cyberbullying, they don't even know what politics is. They don't understand what politics is. So when they go into a social WhatsApp group or something and the kids are talking to one another, or they have, what's the other one? They have Snapchat, and they have another one. Sorry? Facebook, Twitter, and there's even another one. There's too many. Sorry? Instagram, there's another one. Anyway, when I Hangouts. Do you guys use Hangouts? You don't use Hangouts? Oh yeah. You guys in America start everything and then we have to deal with it. Most of this comes from your country, right? Then we have to deal with it. The wind always blows towards the east and it comes that way. Right? But anyway, your Yahoo is based here, your Facebook based here, everything based here. Anyway. What happens is they get onto that, and then when bullying starts or something starts between them where they don't know how to handle it, they can go to some serious extremes. Because these children, they don't know what politics is. They don't know how to deal with other humans. Now, ghiba, backbiting, is so rife in those platforms because people don't have akhlaq. People don't know how to deal with it. Breaking rules of Islam, swearing, trying to say that they're going to, trying to use certain words that are inappropriate or try to say things that are breaking rules is a normal thing on those platforms. Sharing videos, sharing posts that are going to be inappropriate is always the case on this. And I think to myself, why would you as a parent want to give that in their hands? It just doesn't make sense to me. My child is 13, okay, he's in the UK. Everyone in this class has got a smartphone, but he hasn't got one. But look, I've kept a balance. You can ask me, where's my balance? Well, I've kept a balance. I've spoken to him. I've told him the reasons why not. I've said to him, look, you're going to get onto these things and then you're going to mess up your homework. You're going to mess up your exams that are coming up. And you're not going to study properly. Okay? I will allow you to play PlayStation or something else, all right? But limited time. Rest of the time, you've got to read a book here. Make a timetable for them. And get other games that they play. Look, in my house, I bought so many games. I play with my kids' games. If you're there in the evening and you're not going to give them computer games, you're not going to give them console games, they don't have a smartphone, what they're supposed to do with the time? Okay, you give them homework, what they're supposed to do after that? Well, you as a parent should sit with them and read, or you as a parent sit with them and play with them. And I play with my kids. I play games with my kids. And we have fun, we have laughter. Sometimes some of them get upset. When they get upset, alhamdulillah, this is the time to do tarbiyah. If any of your kids get upset and they're not having a good day, that's the best day you can do their tarbiyah. That's far better than having a happy, jolly family, nothing goes wrong. Because one day something's going to go wrong. Things always go wrong. So it's better that you're there to do the tarbiyah. Right? Sometimes kids will hide things from you and they'll do it. And when you catch them, it's not like, that's it. You know who I am? FBI. You don't come down like, rock solid on them and you're going to go like, okay, you done that, son? Yeah? WWF, You don't make their life, crazy and they think, man, I got caught in this, because then they're going to find another loophole. They're going to do something else tomorrow. Look, you found it, something secret. You talk to them nicely. Look, you're not supposed to do it. Habibi or something, Allah is watching. You said to me you're not going to do it. Let's put it away. And then show them respect and love. But at the same time, keep it moderate, keep it balanced. As long as you do that, inshallah, they'll be fine. A 12-year-old boy has anger issues, hits on door when he's angry. How do you handle? He's a good kid otherwise. Look, that 12-year-old kid, I can guarantee you, he used to do that when he was 4. He never used to do the same way, but he used to probably just like, He's like, when sometimes children say, that's it, I'm not gonna eat. Sometimes children say that. They're upset. They say, I'm not gonna eat. I'm like, you don't want to eat? Alhamdulillah. Seriously, alhamdulillah. Go and play. Have you ever seen a kid fast 24 hours? Have you ever seen a kid not eat for 24 hours? No way. You let him go. You don't want to eat because you're upset. You think, I'm going to come and beg you. No, go and eat. Please, open your mouth, eat. And he's like, what? You crazy? You just let the child go away, no problem, because you leave the food there. It's in the fridge. It's in the microwave, or it's on the cooker, whatever. You watch. 5 hours later, 4 hours later, they'll automatically come and they will eat. They will have to swallow their pride. That's the best bit of it. They have to eat the food and swallow the pride. That's when you don't end up with a 12-year-old, knocking on the door and smacking the door and getting angry. Discipline has to be done at a younger age. Now, if you've ended up with a 12-year-old doing that, then you've got to slowly bring the reins back. I will tell you one thing. A lot of parents that complain, like some parents carry on complaining about the kids even till the kid has got married. Seriously. And one parent came to me, one grandfather came to me, and he said to me this, he's 60 years old. He said to me, Imam, I'm fed up. I said, what's the matter? Why are you fed up? He said, I'm fed up. Look, I said, I gave my kid, I gave him everything he wanted. I gave him education. Then, normally kids work at college and university. Here you got things free, right? Over there you have to work. So he said, my child never worked. I gave him the education he wanted. I paid for everything, right? Then he came to his age of marriage and I got him married. Okay, then it came to him wanting a house. I bought the house, put him in there with his beloved wife. And he still gives me attitude. So you know what I said to him? I said to him, it's your problem. He said, how? I said, you've just shown too much love. If you give any child, if you give your wife, or if a wife gives her husband too much, you make it too cushiony, you make it too good, they're going to demand it. That's life. They're going to expect it all the time. And then on top of that, they give you attitude because they never worked hard to get it. Kids need to work a little bit, or at least make some effort to achieve what they've got. When you achieve something free, mufat, fi sabilillah, when you get it mufat, then you have no respect for it. We have water here whenever you need it, yes or no? Yes or no? People waste water all the time. You watch them, look, they go to the sink, all right? And they put the tap on, and they go and do something else. The tap's still on. They come, they get their toothbrush, tap's still on. They put the toothbrush, toothpaste. Just put a little bit under the tap, and they go, tap's still on. 2 minutes later, right? And now look, 2 minutes. Have you ever calculated 2 minutes tap is on? No, with a good degree. You can fill a bucket with that. Do you have respect for that water? No, you don't. Why? Because it's free. Would a child in Sudan do that? Tell me. Yes or no? No way. There's a drought. That water, little bit, is so important. Would you do that in Muzdalifah, in Hajj, where you got no water? No way. So the thing is, the thing that you have to have, the thing you're not going to get back again, or is really, you have value for it, the one that you work for, you have credit for it. But the thing that is for free, you don't. So if as parents, you give them free, this, that, they're going to think that this is what life is. And modern psychology says this. If 8 out of 10 times you give your children what they want, we're not talking about basic necessities here. We're talking about extra things. We're not talking about the basic food, basic clothing. No, we're not talking about that. Extra things like, Dad, I want to buy this. Dad, I want to have that toy. Dad, or Mom, I want to have this. If 8 out of 10 times you say yes to them, you can have it. 2 out of 10 times you say no, your children will grow up unappreciating life, ungrateful, and they're going to be moody. If 2 out of 10 times with the extra things in life you give them, you say yes to them, and 8 out of 10 times you say no, you can't have it, your children grow up sabiran, with sabr, patience. They grow up having shukr, and they're grateful to you, and they're happy as well. Long term, they're happy as well. That's from recent psychological releases that have come out in the last few years. Because if you give anyone too much of anything, they start, well, I'm going to get there anyway, so what? There are certain women that are serious, certain women that are suffering because they've made it Jannah in the house, and certain men are suffering because they've made it Jannatul Firdaus in the house. You know what I'm saying? Like, she made it Jannatul Ma'wa, some other guy made it Jannatul Firdaus. And when you do that to one partner or the other partner, you seriously support it. So what do? You have to curb it back. I had a woman who complained to me, and she said, she you know what she used to do? She used to, and I know in America it's going to sound like, whoa, Imam, don't bring that here, Imam. We don't have that kind of stuff in America. Don't try and spread your UK fitna this way. All right? This woman phoned me up and she said, she's got problems with her husband. I started talking to her. I said, okay, well, what's about? And then she tells me she actually every day religiously, early in the morning, she makes breakfast. She takes you all the way upstairs and she gives her husband breakfast in bed. I'm like, serious? Are you serious? And then you say your husband doesn't do this for you. Why should he? He's living in a 7-star hotel. He might as well go and say, look, you guys in Dubai with the Al-Burj, you don't know what Burj is. Come to my house. I'll show you Burj. A woman like this brings you breakfast in bed, gives it to you every single morning. Do what you like. The world's your oyster. Now you get the opposite as well. Some husbands, they can't go home. Why can't you go home, brother? The guy was hiding outside of his own house. Why? Because he allowed his wife to be a certain way with him. Right? Where he walks in, she's already like guns blazing on him. He just walked in, he's got gun blazing on him. He hasn't even said oof. She started on him. And if you allow that in your house, look, there's got to be a balance. The woman needs her balance, the man needs his balance, right? And if you allow that, then that's what you're going to get. If you allow your woman or your husband to be like that, what are you going to get it? You're going to say, stop, enough is enough. If a wife allows her husband To carry on shouting at her, scorning her, telling her off, all right? And she doesn't speak up, it's going to happen. And if a husband allows his wife to pick up the frying pan and whack it on his head, it's going to happen, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing with children. If you allow your child to actually speak to you in a certain rude way, or like this question here, bang on the door and do whatever, and you're tolerating it, they know they can get away with it. And it starts with those little tantrums. Now, you got to curb it back. How do you curb it back? Well, you got to slowly stop the gifts and the extras you're giving them. Slowly curb. Don't do it all of a sudden. Slowly cut it down. Like, for example, you were giving them extra gifts. You're buying them, like, they need, let's say, 3 pairs of trousers. You call them pants in America, sorry. They need 3 pants. Right? So they need 3, you're buying them 7. Why are you buying them 7? Cut it down to 3. That's what they need. Cut it down to 3. They need, whatever it is for extra stuff, cut it down. Cut it down. And when you bring them to what they just need, then they will start appreciating who you are. Then they will start listening. So curb your love and bring it down back again. Any brothers that have got a final question? Yes. Okay, that's a very good point. The brother is saying that, if a parent hasn't received, when they were young, they haven't received the love, right? How do they give the love, right? Or if they haven't received the balance, how did you do it? Look, I'll be honest with you, you can do it, right? When I was young, I got it tough. My dad was Umar ibn Khattab, radiallahu anhu. Seriously. You just didn't mess with my dad. You just didn't mess with him. I'm telling you, he was first, he hit you, then he asked you. What the problem? That's how he was. He didn't even ask you and hit you. He hit you and then he asked you. And you were already getting up from the floor and he said, forget it. You're right, I'm wrong. That's how he worked, right? Now the thing is, when I've become a parent, I've had to teach myself that's not the way. I've got to find my own balance. And yes, I might not be the best parent to find the balance, but I've got to still learn, adapt, and do something different. What usually happens is this. Parents, I tell you, the children who were deprived of toys when they were young, they normally swing the pendulum the other way. And when they become parents, they give their children as many toys as they can. Because they think, I never had toys, I want to give my children as many toys as they can. But then what happens is, those children who grew up with so many toys, if they grow up as parents, they probably might think, I don't want to give my children that many toys, right? So usually it keeps on swinging. Every generation swings you one way, the next generation swings you the other way. That's the normal thing that happens. But I'm asking for a balance. So if you've noticed that you were from an extreme sort of background where either one of the things you never got, you've seriously got to say to yourself, you're not going to go to the other extreme. You just got to stop halfway and say, that's where I'm going to stop it. So they get some things and they don't get other things. Right? And every man, every woman has to find their own balance. Okay? Brother over here had a question somewhere, yes?
In a maktab, and I have some nephews who have memorized the Quran. One of the issues we face is students are not able to focus while reciting the Quran or memorizing the Quran. They can't focus for more than 4 or 5 minutes. They read for a few minutes and then...
How old are they?
Between 8 to 13.
Have they got smartphones? Have they got tablets? Have they got games? Yes. How often do they play?
They often have access to these things.
That's it. That's the reason. If a child can't focus on studies, if they can't focus on hifz, if they don't focus, you know what's happening? They sit there, and literally I'm telling you, this is what happens. They sit there with a book. It doesn't have to be Quran, it could be anything. They sit there with a book and 5 minutes they read, and you know what happens? Their brain starts daydreaming about the game they played. And they want to get back there. And they start dreaming of, how they're going to get in there. And these games online, they've become very sophisticated. When I was young, I don't know about you guys, when I was young, when the first console games came out, they came on cassettes. These days, kids don't know what a cassette is. Right? And you had to put the cassette, load it, close it, and then you waited for it to load for about 3 minutes, and you just about played for a minute, and then you had to stop and so on. Then the Sega Mega Drive or something came. That was kind of buzzing. But now these days, playing online, the amount of graphics they got, the sophistication is taking them to another level. Anytime you find children can't focus is because of that. You need to seriously cut down on the time on that and slowly get them to a normal life. And I'll be honest with you, a lot of children find this life boring when they come out of that. It's a real boring world. Okay, there's a sister's question here. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. 5-year-old and 3-year-old boys fight non-stop. How do we get them to stop? Okay, it's a normal thing that happens in families. Okay, now look, fighting or them fighting. I'll tell you reasons why they might fight. Either because the space is very congested, but I'm sure that's not the case with you living in Dallas with the kind of size of houses you've got, right? Either that, or you're giving one something and you're not giving the other one something that they want. Or when they're together, you need to teach them how to play together. Literally, you need to be there with them. My 2 boys, or let's say my boy and girl fought. I'll tell you the very easy way to stop this, right? My boy and my girl, they used to really quarrel a lot. And you try everything. Try to talk to them, try to do whatever, try to separate them, and they do that. I'll tell you a wonderful way to stop this, right? It's a Japanese study. I think it's a Japanese study. And I think they even brought it to America and they tried it, and then it became a phenomenon, right? And I used it at home, and subhanallah, it works. I tell you, it works. What I did is this. Next time they fought, I said, okay, come over here. I got my son, stand here. So he stands here. I said, face this way, face this way. I said, my daughter, you stand here. She stands here. I said, face this way. She faced towards each other, right? Then this is what you do. You say, okay, look into each other's eyes without moving away for 4 minutes. So the same brother and the same sister that have just been fighting, they have to look at each other's eyes for 4 minutes. If you ever do that with a human being close range and you're looking at each other's eyes for 4 minutes, you're like, either you're smiling or you want to look away because he's probably still angry. No, if you look away, I'm going to start the time again. So you put 4 minutes. You know what it does? It actually creates mahabbah. It creates love. If you get a husband and wife to do that, honestly, if a husband and wife are quarreling, I'm not telling them to do it in front of the kids, okay? Go away, seriously, go away. One day, just go in your bedroom and say, look, no kalam, let's just look at each other for 4 minutes. Hopefully, inshallah, that night they'll have another child, inshallah. Okay. I'll leave the imagination to you, right? If you have any 2 human beings, honestly, they've done this test with father, daughter, son, and someone else. And you know what? After a while, some people cry. Some people who've never done it in their life, they will actually cry because they see love. They feel love, right? So it's a simple thing. I tried this so many times that my son was like, I'm not going to do anything to her again. Why? Because I don't want to look at her face again. I don't look into your eyes again. And that was it. That was it. Alhamdulillah. Most of the fights are stopped now because he just doesn't want to face that again because it has an effect on the child. Okay, so should we end it now? Inshallah, I think it's enough. Yeah? Jazakumullah khair. Thank you for staying. It's been wonderful coming here. And inshallah, I'd love to be with you again. Inshallah, I'll pass it back to the Imam, inshallah.
Jazakumullah khair for coming. Jazakumullah khair to Shaykh Hasan Ali. I mean, that guns blazing thing was something I'm not going to forget. So, but may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you, Shaykh Hasan.
The reason why I do that is I'm an outsider. By the time they complain to you, I've gone.
So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward him, bless him. So inshallah, Jazakumullah khair for coming. If you have any questions, I would suggest that the Shaykh has to get going. So do either take his email address and then send him your questions as you wish, inshallah. And
This
Okay, so
And I don't know, for some reason it has been left to very few people
okay,
and keep this changing.
okay.
So if we can, those who know, those organizing, if they can tell us.
Do you know where you are tomorrow morning?
It will be better.
You know where I am, right? You just tell him where I am.
Where is he going to be tomorrow morning? So tomorrow, Shaykh Hasan is going to be in Carrollton from 12 to 3, and then ICI after Salat al-Maghrib, right? After Salat al-Maghrib. So Sunday night. So tomorrow, 12 to 3, inshallah, in Carrollton. Then after Salat al-Maghrib in Irving. And then on Sunday night, inshallah, he'll be in West Plano, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.